All right, it is Tuesday, October 13th. I'm Tom Novak. This is your Bring Me the News and Novak Weather Update. Hey, things are starting to get interesting here in our atmosphere. It's actually been quite boring, in my opinion, here for the last 6 weeks or so. But now, as we get into the second half of October, I think we're really going to have some interesting weather to talk about. And what you're looking at right now, this is the visible satellite loop. And yeah, we caught a break today with mostly sunny skies, at least this afternoon across much of the upper Midwest. You can see clouds here shifting off to the east over Wisconsin. They were over Minnesota this morning. And then we're focusing our attention here over Montana. There looks to be some increasing high clouds over there. But in general, I think the mixture of clouds and sun are going to be with us into tomorrow. In fact, much of this week. So get used to it and also get used to the wind. As we had mentioned yesterday, with strong winds overhead at the jet stream level, they are being transported down to the surface, and that's one of the reasons why we have strong winds, breezy conditions, and windy conditions expected for much of this week and even into the weekend. Here are high temperatures this afternoon here across the upper Midwest, pretty uniform in the 50s, up or middle 50s to lower 60s across much of the upper Midwest. That's going to be the case tomorrow because our air mass is coming from Montana and the western Dakotas, and they are right around 60 degrees right now also. So yeah, as that air moves east during the night tonight, it'll be over us tomorrow. So again, we can expect temperatures in the upper 50s and lower 60s across the upper Midwest, including southern Minnesota. Okay, here's the jet stream, the river there at 30 to 35,000 feet. And I want you to focus in on what's happening here in the upper Midwest. Here we are, and there's Minnesota. And look at how the powerful jet stream is moving basically from west or northwest to southeast across the upper Midwest, and winds are strong. We're talking about winds at about 160 and 170 knots. The jet stream hasn't been this strong since the spring, since March and April. So yeah, it's cruising out of the Pacific Northwest and heading east and southeast across the upper Midwest. And look at what happens. And I'm going to really focus in here now on Saturday. This is the jet stream structure now for Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Look, we have winds at about 150 knots now streaming from northwest to southeast across the Dakotas into western Minnesota. And that places northern Minnesota on the edge, or on the nose, the left front quad, we call it, of a jet streak, of winds that are very strong in the upper levels of our atmosphere. And that's interesting because that means that they could have some inclement weather up there, especially in northern Minnesota as we get into Saturday, as I'm going to show you here. Again, focusing in on Saturday, here are the mid-level temperatures now. These are temperatures at about 10 to 15,000 feet in our atmosphere. And again, here's the Twin Cities metro for geographic references. And again, I want to focus on northern Minnesota. Look at how cold it is up here in the Red River Valley. We're talking minus 13 to minus 14 degrees Celsius. Keep in mind, the freezing temperature is at 0 degrees Celsius, so it's plenty cold to support snow up in northern Minnesota this weekend. In fact, even as we go down in the atmosphere at about 5,000 feet, look at how cold it still is up in northern Minnesota. So if you're in eastern North Dakota, northern Minnesota, you're talking about temperatures that are plenty cold enough to support snow on Saturday afternoon. Meanwhile, here in southern Minnesota, look at how it warms up in the lower layers. Temperatures get up into that 5, 6, 7 degrees above 0 Celsius, and that means that there will be a push of warm air into southern Minnesota while cold air is filtering into northern Minnesota. Yes, you're getting the idea. There's likely going to be a low pressure system somewhere in central Minnesota, and where that low pressure sets up this weekend is going to determine who gets snow. So yeah, I've got snow in the forecast for portions of Minnesota this weekend, and it could be significant. This is the European computer model guidance for potential snow now during the day on Saturday. And look at where it has the bullseye. Basically from about the Grand Forks, East Grand Forks area, on east through Bemidji, and then towards the arrowhead of northeastern Minnesota, just north of Duluth. So if those of you familiar with northern Minnesota, that Highway 2 corridor, which is right here, along and north of the Highway 2 corridor in northern Minnesota. So basically the northern third of Minnesota looks like it has the best potential for snow this weekend. So yeah, our first real opportunity for accumulating snow, and that's all because of the Arctic air that is going to be settling into the United States as we get into later this week, this weekend, and then through much of next week. This is the extended forecast now from Bring Me the News and Novak Weather. And again, here's our last opportunity, at least in the near future, for above average temperatures, not only today, like what we experienced today, but also tomorrow. I think a relatively warm day, and then temperatures start to go down over much of Minnesota. And the Twin Cities will likely be stuck in the 40s Thursday and Friday. Now, depending on where that low pressure system sets up on Saturday, we can actually warm up in southern Minnesota into the upper 50s and lower 60s. So that should be an interesting day, while northern Minnesota is stuck in the upper 20s and lower 30s for highs on Saturday. And then everybody gets in on the cold late this weekend and early next week, with temperatures in the upper 30s and lower 40s. And again, it's looking cold for much of next week. All right, that's your forecast from Bring Me the News and Novak Weather. Thank you for joining me. We will talk to you tomorrow.